Alright, YouTube. We're wrapping up this Three Musketeers today. So this is exclusive Ace's take on skill-based matchmaking. Let's just get into it because I'm tired of making these long videos.
What's up, guys? My name is Ace, and it's finally time to share the results of the skill-based matchmaking study that myself, Drifter, JGod, and Sour have been working on for the past, 3 weeks now, 2.5 weeks. We've been really putting a lot of time into this, and we want to make sure we do it right. And the goal with this is to just try to gain a bit of a better understanding of how the skill-based matchmaking system works, based on the limited public data we have access to. And also keep in mind, all of this had to be hand-calculated, hand-tested, and all the data entry was done by hand. I think I put about 70 hours into this myself, and then the other guys put a bunch of time into it as well. So we did a lot here to get a decent sample size. Of course, it could be better, but we did put a ton of time and effort into this, and I feel like it does show us some pretty good trends when it comes to skill-based matchmaking. So to start it off, I'm going to go through the...
Try not to pause the video too much, but this whole data thing and research thing, the only thing that's going to really prove this, even though I freaking brought out these goddamn patents and did the live streams and whatever the hell, the only thing that's going to prove this is if somebody cracks the goddamn game. That's the way these guys are acting, so it is what it is, man.
The testing process and methodology we used. I know for a lot of people that's kind of boring. I'll try to remember to put timestamps here so you can skip ahead if you don't want to see this, but I do feel it is very important to present this. Essentially, each of us took multiple accounts. I tested 3 different accounts of different skill levels. Drifter did 3 as well. JGod did 2, and Sour did 1. But with these, we tested 9 accounts with a wide variety of skill levels, from significantly below average all the way up to an actual pro player's account. And we collected data over 10 games on all of the players that were in our lobbies. Now keep in mind there's a bit of a limitation here, and that is sometimes we simply couldn't find data on players. So you will see some blank spots in the data, which again, that will of course be in the description down below. But we collected data on as many of the players as we possibly could in those lobbies to try and find out what sort of trends exist with matchmaking as well as team balancing. We did decide to include that this year as well, because that's quite an important factor that we'll get into. But we collected things like kill-death ratio, win-loss ratio, score per minute, accuracy, the platform that the player was playing on, which, keep in mind, we did do all of this testing with crossplay enabled, with the exception of Drifter's first 5 games he did with crossplay disabled. But yeah, we collected a ton of data on these people. For me, at least, I stuck to domination only for this entire test, and all of the score per minute values that I collected were for domination specifically, because game modes can significantly impact your global score per minute. So that's why I chose a game mode specific score per minute for the game mode that I was testing. Additionally, with this, we recorded how long it took to matchmake into a lobby, as well as the ping value that we got in each one of these matches. And with that, I think that lays out the basics of what we did and how we did it. In the sheet with the data, there's a better list of our methodology and everything. But let's start hopping into the data. When we compare the kill-death ratios, which keep in mind this is actual kill-death ratio, it doesn't include assists, which the elimination death ratio does. This is the true kill-death ratio. But we had that for each of the accounts, as well as the average of all of the players that they ran into in these 10 games. And taking a look at our graph here, there is definitely a very clear trend with this. We get an R-squared value of 0.68, which is relatively strong. It's not super strong, but
Just to cut in, one of the things that everybody seems to just leave out, or most of these guys want to leave out, is the fact that no matter what's presented in this data, this game still runs like absolute trash on its, 20 hertz? It's a sick freaking joke. So again, this whole KD argument, it's BS. Like, we know that you're being forced into lobbies that, okay, sometimes I just back out now because I don't get kills that I should always get. You guys have been through this on my channel. I know you have. You send me all these, you started sending me clips and leaving lots of comments about it. But just have to inject that in here, man. Because everything seems to just be, again, this left-brained, if it's not on the graph, then it's not real. It's the boogeyman. Man, come on, bro. Come on, man.
it is definitely a trend here. Essentially, the higher your kill-death ratio, the more likely you are to run into people that also have a higher kill-death ratio. But I do want to be crystal clear here, it's not a perfect one-to-one sort of thing. So if you have a 1.5 kill-death ratio, for instance, that doesn't mean that every single person in your lobby has a 1.5 KD. You might run into somebody with a 3 KD, and you might run into somebody with a 0.8 KD. There is still some variance there, but what we're looking at is the averages, and on average, there is a correlation between your kill-death ratio and the kill-death ratio of the people that you're playing with.
Kill-death ratio isn't even important It doesn't really matter like that. Like, I think I have a 1.45 or a 1.5, but it doesn't matter. I'm sat here going for camos. Like, I'm playing this game that clearly when you get into several lobbies and if you don't back out, you're either going to go negative or you're going to go neutral simply because the game's going to make you fucking go negative or neutral. It's not rocket science. I don't need a freaking bar graph or a dotted chart or a pie chart to freaking understand that and see it happening in front of my face on my screen. It doesn't work like that. Jesus.
We also saw a somewhat similar trend with score per minute, although score per minute's a little bit weird in this game. I'm not too sure how the matchmaking system calculates the score per minute, like if they use the actual displayed values or not, but I have a feeling they don't, because those displayed values are heavily influenced by the types of streaks that you're going on. As you go on higher streaks, your score per minute will go up exponentially, and therefore it does skew this data a fair amount in this game compared to previous Call of Duty games. But in general, there was still a trend that we noticed here as well. Now, looking back to last year's study with Modern Warfare, one of the big conclusions we found was it was mainly our recent performance that mattered rather than our career performance. So if you had a string of really good games against lower skilled lobbies, then the data we collected last year indicated that it would bump you into harder lobbies against more difficult players. And I'm sure this is no surprise to anybody that's played a lot of Cold War. It appears they have basically the exact same system this time around. I honestly think they pretty much just copied and pasted the skill-based matchmaking system from Modern Warfare into Black Ops Cold War. We see very similar trends, very similar values. I don't believe it's any stronger or weaker in Black Ops Cold War based on the data that we've seen, but it does appear to be relatively strict when it comes to your recent performance. So
Yeah, it is the damn same. If you want to go on COD Tracker, because I'm not putting it in this video to make it any longer than it's already going to probably be, search me on COD Tracker, search my damn PlayStation Network account, or however you want to do it, and compare my Cold War stats to my Modern Warfare stats. They're basically the complete copy. So he's right. Exclusive Ace is right about that. And you know something? I pretty much agree with him. The only difference with this game is the tampering, or whatever you want to call it, the coefficients and the parameters started to kick in just a little bit more than they did last year in Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare, it was just frames for me. Frames and just, honest to God, just BS. But I've been experiencing this trash since Black Ops 3. Very minimally in Black Ops 3, but most noticeably towards Infinite Warfare. So all this stuff is occurring. It doesn't matter what people want to sit here and act like, oh, it's not, if I don't have a chart or actual code, then it just can't exist. You gotta stop that shit, man. It's pathetic. But Exclusive Ace here, he's right. It's the same. I agree with that. And if you want to confirm, go check my stats. The KD for Modern Warfare is 1.15. KD for this game is either 1.15 or 1.16. Because when you're actually in your barracks, it's counting in your assists as kills, which is stupid. Because if they took that out, then people would even have more of a complaint. But it is what it is. I digress.
if you're playing really well, it's going to put you on harder matches. If you have a string of really bad games where you're performing really terrible, then it will bump you down to easier players. Now, we don't know exactly at this point if your recent performance is the past 3 games or 5 games or 10 games. We just know that there is a correlation between your recent performance and the types of players that you'll end up playing against. So overall, there's not a whole lot to say about this aside from the fact that it appears to be pretty much the same as Modern Warfare. However, this time around, we ran into some very interesting results across the board that we didn't run into last year. Last year with Modern Warfare's test, Drifter and I didn't find any correlation at all between your skill level and the ping that you get in-game, or your connection quality. This time around, all of us that tested multiple accounts noticed the exact same trend. And this is, for the higher skilled accounts that we were testing, on average they had a higher ping than the lower skilled accounts.
Yeah, no shit, but what about Modern Warfare's matchmaking search? Does anybody remember that? How you would sit in the lobby? 25 ping, 40 ping, 65 ping, 95 ping, over 110 ping? Come on, bro. Don't do that.
And with this one, I do want to be super clear here so nobody misquotes me. The sample sizes we're dealing with for this are extremely small, and therefore more testing is required to say this with absolute confidence. At this point, it's just a little trend that we noticed that may be indicating that ping is no longer king, and being a higher skilled player may result in a worse connection than if you were a lower skilled player.
Ace, come on, bro. Rip the sugar off the coating, please. Rip the sugar off the coating. Just remove the coating in full. I will link you the damn patent if you haven't already linked it yourself and watched the whole damn video. For Christ's sake, it literally says load balance, aka screw it connection, because Activision hates competition. At least in my opinion, they hate competition. Just want to make everybody look and feel like we're all the same so everybody can be fucking manipulated, but too bad for y'all. And Activision, they're all Sirius exists.
So JGod saw this trend, Drifter saw this trend, and me especially, I saw this trend more than anybody. And I think this is likely due to my region. I live near Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I'm pretty far away from the servers I tend to connect to. I actually often connect to a Kansas server based on my NetDuma router, which, by the way, I should mention the router wasn't doing any filtering during our testing. It was just monitoring, not filtering. But I'm just going to lay out what I ran into. For me, the best connection that I will typically get in Black Ops Cold War...
Just to cut in, it also makes sense, Ace, because after watching this and watching... I haven't seen Sour play the game in a very long time, but I'm not really even including him in this. It's the Three Musketeers, this is you, JGod, and Drifter. You by far are the best player out of that group of people. Easily. So, it should affect you more. You should be noticing it more. It's literally what it says in the damn document, bro.
Is going to be somewhere around 45 to 50 milliseconds. It really doesn't get any better than that for me, and that's fine. That's a very reasonable connection experience. However, I often notice, especially on my main account, I will end up in lobbies with about 100 millisecond ping. Not all the time, it just happens from time to time. But when I was doing this testing, I found that I was running into those 100 ping lobbies far more on my main account than my low skill account and my average account that I was testing.
Well, there you go, folks. You heard it from Ace, not just from Sirius. Don't take it from the angry guy who just, yells at everybody, allegedly. The mean guy, the mean COD guy. Take it from Ace. He's literally telling you the same thing that everybody else is barking about.
And it turns out, after 10 games on each of these accounts, my average ping on my main account was 50% higher than the others.
And that should be all you need to know in here. I could end the video right here, even though I'm not going to. Is that fair? No. Paying all this money for internet and for the game just to have a dog meat experience, because I'm better, because Ace is better. Fuck off.
And this is something that is extremely concerning. Now, I am going to be revisiting this in the future with a much larger sample size where I'm just going to be focusing on the ping and the matchmaking times. But so far, based on these limited tests, my matchmaking times were significantly longer on my main account, so it takes way longer to find a match, and I had a higher chance of getting a worse ping.
So what more do we honestly need to do then, Ace? Just call a spade a damn spade. Unless you got somebody... Hey, Ace, you did say it was easy to crack this code on Twitter, which I think that was kind of false. But maybe you know computers and tech and all this code shit better than me, because I really don't know jack about it. I just know that the only way to prove things to most of these knuckleheads is to literally tear the game apart. So, you want to do that? You go right ahead. Please. Shoot, if it wasn't a pandemic, I'd tell you to hit me up. Film the damn thing while you're doing it. Good grief.
And that's not to say that I didn't have my really good 45 to 50 millisecond ping on my main account sometimes, because...
Okay, I'm cutting in a lot. 50 ping is not good at all. That's trash. 50 ping, 45 ping, good ping is like 10. In between 10 and 20. 40 and 50 is not good in any way, shape, or form. Let's just get that straightened out the way. That is not good. I don't care what anybody tells you. Go ask anyone else from any other game besides COD. And then you ask them, oh yeah, is 40, 50 ping good? Let them tell you. Don't take it from Sirius, because I'm just the angry guy.
Because I did. It just seems much more likely that it will expand that search result based on your skill level, which could give you a higher ping value. So if this is true, I don't think this is something that's done maliciously where they are trying to add ping to skilled players. I think it's more so you're just drawing from a smaller pool of players that are relatively skill matched with that player, and therefore the system is willing to expand that search to a higher ping lobby in order to get a better skill match.
Well, go read the damn thing where it literally says load balance. Hit you on Twitter, you can DM me, I will link it to you, bro. You read it. I don't remember exactly what it says. I ain't putting it in the video. Maybe I will. These guys, in my opinion, they have so much money. At some point, it has to go beyond money. People don't just do things just to make money. No, that's a falsehood. That's not how humanity works. I don't care what anybody tells you. Human beings aren't robots. They're not put on a fucking conveyor belt to run a task. This society will have you think that's what the case is, but like GG Reloaded said, hey, ain't nobody in the back room of Treyarch with a bunch of guns held to their head. It's just not the case. These people are actively making these decisions. Everybody doesn't have to go do the same goddamn thing every day. Okay? That fear isn't real. Oh, I'm gonna get fired. And nigga, no. If everybody stopped doing everything that they were doing, the world would kind of take a rest. And honestly, that's what humanity needs to fucking do. We need to sit back and fucking reflect. This is bullshit, bro. Golly.
And this is not supposed to be happening. The claim from Vonderhaar has always been that ping is king, and therefore your connection quality will never be sacrificed for the sake of skill-based matchmaking, and it looks like that might not be true this time around.
It's not true. Read the patent, for Christ's sake. Open, it's literally in plain sight, bro. Literally in plain freaking sight.
Now, this is where I want to get into the next section that I found very interesting, and this is team balancing. Now, team balancing is separate from matchmaking. Matchmaking is the system that puts a lobby of players together. Team balancing is what happens after that lobby is already together. And this is often confused. I see people often tweeting me like screenshots where they did really well, all of the players on their team really suck, and all of the players on the other team did quite well. And then they say this is because of skill-based matchmaking. No, that's not skill-based matchmaking, that's team balancing, and that is an important distinction to be making. But what I personally noticed with my data when comparing my teammates versus my enemies with the various accounts that I tested is with my below average and my average account, the stats for my teammates and enemies were nearly identical. The teams were balanced out really nicely when I wasn't factored into the equation. However, on my main account, if I eliminated myself from the equation and I just looked at my teammates versus my enemies, on average, my enemies were better in every single category of the stats that we collected.
Well, there you go, folks. This is old news. This has been going on since... I took a break from COD, but this has been going on since I came back to COD in 15 or 16? Yeah, like early 2016 during Black Ops 3's life cycle, okay? You get in games where I would start it off winning them, but having 40, 50, 60 kills, and everybody else on my team is horrible. Infinite Warfare comes... You could go back on my channel and look these videos up. I literally titled it X amount of kills for the L, for the loss. So this isn't new. Now this is a part of the whole skill-based thing, but this is what happens when you try to sit here and orchestrate some type of system that's not based on reality. It's just not the case. It's not based on real skill. These people who make the game don't know what skill even is. They don't. I'd argue that, well, maybe Ace knows. I'm looking at the way he's playing the game. He definitely would have a better take, in my opinion. But these other guys, Drifter, J-God, the reverse boosting gang, well, whoever else you want to throw in there, a lot of guys, they don't know what skill is in COD. Most of these guys say COD isn't a skill game. They say it's not competitive. So don't take everything these guys say as fucking as fact. I guess that's what I'm here to do. I gotta sit here and educate Timmies.
By a noticeable margin. It wasn't a small margin by any means. So what appears to be happening here is since they can't find properly skill-matched players for my account, because I'm not trying to brag here, but throughout these 10 games, there were only a few players that were actually at my level of stats. And therefore, even though I'm going to be playing more skilled players on average, they're still not generally going to be quite at my level. The team balancing system has to compensate for this discrepancy in stats, and since it is such a large discrepancy on average, it has to give me some of the worst players in the lobby on my team, and then the better players have to be on the other team.
So, based on what he's saying, I'll see if he says in this video, if they're averaging KD, that's just chalked. It's just fucking chalked. These guys have no clue. Kill death ratio does not matter. It doesn't matter. Say it again. Doesn't matter. Unless you literally have a 0.5 or whatever the hell, or something like that, or below, like heavily below a 1, it doesn't matter. Kill death ratio doesn't matter. Score per minute's a little bit better indicator, but even in this game, like he said, it's kind of bugged because the score system is dead wrong, which is stupid. Because of the streak system, which is also just stupid. So, The whole thing's a circus, man.
So what this means is if you're a skilled player and you have exceptional stats, like we're not talking about slightly above average. I mean, if you have the type of stats where in most lobbies, nobody's going to have a similar set of stats to you, you are going to be expected to carry very hard in order to have a shot at winning the game due to this team balancing algorithm. And this goes along with my anecdotal experience as well. From the beginning of Cold War, I've always felt that if I'm not giving it 100%, my team basically has no shot at winning, and most likely they're going to get completely stomped into the ground. Whereas when I was doing the testing with my bot account, I would be ignoring the objective completely, I'd be dying more than I'd be killing, and yet, surprisingly, it seemed like whatever I did didn't really matter to the outcome of the game. I was still winning games, I was still losing games, and my involvement in that game seemed to have very little impact on the outcome. So I did find this data to be very interesting. I knew there was a team balancing algorithm, but I didn't realize just how strict it would be and just how much better my enemies are on average compared to my teammates.
Always wondering if your home is safe? Giant hassle. But getting the Vivid Smart Security system.
One of the things you have to remember is from the video when we did the second patent where it explains the profile system, right? Profile-based matchmaking. This guy has certain movements. I'm not going to get into it, but Ace moves a certain way on the map that's being traced. It says it in the damn patent, bruh. Whether you think it's real or not, whatever. But it says it's what it's doing, okay? That's what it's intended to do. It's not just your stats. That's not even the problem. These numbers don't matter. It's how you play the game. The way this guy, Ace, turns corners, re-challenges gunfights. He's also killing at a pretty high clip. Like, I don't know what internet this guy has, but in this match on this Nuketown, he's sitting here, looks like he's killing guys in 4 bullets. That ain't me, I'll tell you that. So, all these things are being taken into account by said algorithm, and that's the issue, really. Because those are the types of lobbies where the lobbies you get into when you're pretty much carrying everybody, they'll throw anyone on your team, they don't give a damn. Because in Activision's eyes, it's, oh, he's good enough to do it. Just like I said in the last video with Drifter, oh, well, you're such a beast. Or no, not Drifter, excuse me, J-God, where it says, you're such a beast that if you kill 4 and they spawn to your right side, as you're healing and reloading, looking to the left, you should be able to get another 4 kills, get that goddamn, kill chain. Because you're a beast. That's Activision's logic. Yeah. Real fucking logical, real analytical, whole lot of research, whole lot of data. You gotta love it, bro.
And with that pretty much covers it for the interesting results we found throughout this study. I know I didn't dive into extreme detail with this. I mainly just want to get across the main points that we found throughout our study.
There was no extreme detail. Drifter said it in his video. You have to crack the game. Y'all want this? Y'all want the real data and all this stuff? Then crack the damn game. The only argument against me is, oh, you don't have data to prove it. Well, someone's going to have to crack the game, which I'm sure is a very daunting task, to say the least. But, somebody out there could do it, right?
If you guys want to look at the details, you can just check out the data for yourselves. But now at the end of the video here, I did want to talk about a bunch of misconceptions with the skill-based matchmaking system. On both sides of it, I feel like people exaggerate on both sides, and I was finding myself often misquoted from the skill-based matchmaking studies from last year as well. So one of the big misconceptions with the skill-based matchmaking system is it doesn't find 11 other clones of you to put you in a lobby together. Above average players will still run into below average players. Below average players will sometimes still run into a professional player. It's not so strict that it limits you to a very fine range of players that you can matchmake with. Instead, what we're looking at here is averages. It's all about the averages. And on average, a higher skilled player is going to be playing above average players. And on average, a low skilled player is going to be playing lower skilled players.
And that's wrong, has been wrong for all eternity, and will remain to be wrong. These guys are not in a professional league. There is a quote-unquote professional league for Call of Duty. Public Match is not a goddamn professional league. You don't separate people based on skill level. It's all connection, okay? That's how it's always been. That's how it always should be, because that's actually equal in terms of competition. That's what it's about. That's why I make these videos. These people are anti-freaking competition. They don't want people to grow. They don't want new people to grow at all. Because if you improve and you get into the newer lobbies, you're gonna end up on my damn channel. That's what's gonna happen. And you're gonna see it get pissed off and have to figure your life out. They're anti-freaking competition. That's what this whole thing is about, I swear. It ain't about money. They can say it's about money. Oh, it increases the profit and the bottom line and the charts and the pie charts and the bar graphs and the dots and all this bullshit. No. People actively choose to make these decisions. Don't let these people fool you, man. Seriously. Please do not let them fool you, because then you end up going to hell in a handbasket, bro.
It doesn't mean there's never going to be a crossover here. Additionally, players that are well above average, like we're talking top 5% or so, they're actually rarely going to be running into players that are the same skill level as them. Most of the players they run into will still be a lower skill level than them.
Yeah, because those people is probably less than 5%. Less. People like me, my teammates, some of the guys I play with, no. But when we play the game, the little nuances start to become heavily pronounced. And we know what we'll do? Let's say it right now. It's just a little throw in the trivia. I'm going to set up something where you guys can send me your clips of all the BS. I'm going to make it's going to be a mega shoot first, die first. That's what I'm going to call it. Because I haven't made one this year. I normally make one every year. One or two. But that's how we're going to do it. Because I know that's what guys get. But we'll show all the clips of your aim being weird, aim assist turning off, shoot first, die first, just your movement getting kind of bugged, button inputs, whatever the hell happens, I'll put it on video for everybody to see, and we'll go through all the clips. We'll do that live on stream, but I'm going to get that set up in the near future so we can have some more data, because that will be more, in my opinion, that will be more telling than this, because you have to at least see this stuff with your own two eyes in order to really even know it's even there. And again, most people aren't good enough to have it happen to them. It takes a certain level of a skilled player to be able to show these things to you, because, well, they're not going to do it as much to the other player, because literally the lower skilled player is getting the advantage. They're on the better end of this, which really there isn't a better end, but they're getting the assistance, not the thwarting.
Next, a common misconception on the other side of things, and this is due to how it's labeled, skill-based matchmaking, is this really isn't a true skill-based matchmaking system. A true skill-based matchmaking system would give you an ELO score, and it would matchmake based on that ELO score. And generally, an ELO rank won't be significantly swinging from game to game like it can in Cold War. So since this is so heavily based on your recent performance rather than your actual skill level, this really technically isn't skill-based matchmaking.
You heard it from Ace. What have I been saying? You heard it from Ace. Thank you, Ace. Unload the clip, Ace. Come on.
It's the most commonly accepted term and the most commonly searched for term, so that's why we use it in our titles and we refer to it as skill-based matchmaking. But in reality, this is more of an engagement-optimized or retention-based matchmaking system. It's not designed just to be fair to players to make sure...
Why don't you just say profile? I know you watched the damn video. You called me and my homie a flat earthers. Just say profile. It's retention-based. I mean, that was in there, but... Come on, bro. Just go all the way. Why can't you COD guys just go all the way? I don't get it.
Sure, they're playing with people of the similar skill level. What it's designed to do is keep you playing for as long as possible. So it gives you the highs, it gives you the lows, and it does this in a very cyclical manner for many of the players in the community, depending on where you fall as far as your skill goes. With a true skill-based matchmaking system, you...
Well, just to that, is that balanced? Is that fair? Is that real? No. It's orchestrated, calculated. It's not a real experience. It's bullshit. But most of these people on here are too naive or ignorant of it to really even know what's going on. Skill-based should be based on actual skill. That's called ranked. Why this game doesn't have ranked when you have a $500 million league? Well, they don't care about competition. I keep saying it. They don't give a damn. Even the pros don't really care about competition. Only a very small handful of them actually give a shit. But Call of Duty just seems to be the worst community in gaming of all time. I swear. Worse than Smash Brothers, worse than Halo. For a game that's actually has the level of competition it has and fun, you would think it would be a better community, but no. It's just one of the worst ones, period. Flat out.
You wouldn't see these massive swings from lobby to lobby. You would see progression in the difficulty over time. And that's not what this system appears to be based on the data. So to wrap this up, I'm not going to dive into deep detail about my thoughts on skill-based matchmaking because I have completely beaten this topic to death over the past couple years. I am really not a fan of strict skill-based matchmaking in Call of Duty public matches without any sort of visible skill rank attached to it. There's no reward or incentive for getting good at the game. And essentially, the more skilled you get, the harder the game is going to get behind the scenes, again, with nothing for you to show for it. And it appears, based on our data here, your ping also may be getting worse as you get more skilled at the game. So I am firmly against this strict skill-based matchmaking system that's hidden in the background for Call of Duty public matches. And this is where I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about the current state of skill-based matchmaking in Black Ops Cold War?
I think the current state of this profile-based matchmaking, where they say that they can potentially alter your goddamn aim if you're better, and help, you know, little Jimmy get generous leeway and balance your and load balance your ping. I think that's complete fucking sorcery. That's what I think, Ace. But you already know that because you probably watched the other videos. Now that I watch yours, and I know what you said that. That's what I think. And I know I'm right. It's not rocket science. No, life don't work like this. You have to improve. Everybody starts off at some spot, but you know something? These little handicaps, that's not how life works. You don't get the handicap. It's not morally acceptable to handicap anyone, especially someone who's spent more time doing something than the next person. That's horseshit. That's not fair. That's not balanced. That's not equal. That's not how it works. So is life.
Do you love it? Do you hate it?
Or should I say, so is Activision. So is Activision.
Are you kind of indifferent? Just let me know those thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video,
Alright, bro. I had enough of this foolishness. So many people just beating around the bush. Gotta sit here and get a coder or somebody to crack the damn game. Like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah, I bet you there's all types of, like, securities and firewalls and all types of shit that I don't even know the name of. Gotta love you guys, Activision. You guys are so awesome, man. Just try to kill competition and make money, acquire profit, and just screw up humanity. Beautiful. Great. That's the end of this. Do something if you enjoyed the video. Share it if you want. And I'll catch you on the next one, man. Peace.